Now we're on 5 minutes. Okay, we're live again. And our system is, see, we're going to pause the system. Okay, everybody, I'm going to give you a chance to settle in. I'm going to be on channel 0 tonight. Now, let's do something first. You guys let me know if you can hear me okay, if the volume is okay. I'm reading minus 12 decibels. That may be a bit low for you guys. I don't want to go too high, though, and blow your eardrums out. We'll be tracking stats real time tonight on channel 0. I'll be on this channel solely. All right, so you guys hear pretty good. Is it clear? Hopefully it's clear. Hopefully it's not. It's low. Hold on. I'm going to try and fix that. You guys work with me on that. I don't want to get it too loud. All right, right now it's in the yellow. It's in the yellow. Is that good enough? Clear now? All right, it's in the yellow at minus. Let's see if we can take it up just a little bit more. We're going to take it up to, see what we got. All right. Minus 4 decibels. Let me see. All right, I'm going to put it at minus 3. All right, right now it's at minus 3 decibels. So hopefully that's clear for you guys. Now, I know my voice is a bit rough. Let me see, do we have yeah. AI is enabled, helping me out a little bit here, so it's cutting out some noises. Now I'm on channel 0, guys, because I just so happen to be in a place where a tornado and large hail and high winds and all that good stuff are beginning to centralize here. And so I'm here and I'm starting early. Also, I have to warn you, I am extremely tired. I have been doing some things nonstop because we have. Listen, here's the deal. Can you guys imagine something with me? Imagine here in America, we had 28 to 30 storms, just like the one that's on the East Coast right now. Could you imagine that scenario within the USA? 28 to 30 storms. We're talking about storms with hail potential, storms with a high torque-on value. The USA engulfed in these type storms. Imagine the damage, the costs, right? Because when the hail begins, it's going to be quite heavy. They're already looking at, based upon the wind speeds, softball-sized hail. It's pretty big. Not softball, baseball-sized, not softball. Baseball-sized hail. And by anybody's standards, that is devastating hail, right? That is devastating. I'm going to look something up real quick to share something with you guys. Maybe you don't know it. Some data here. If I can pull that up here real quick. Let me see. I'm going to do a quick search. See if we can find it. We're going to look in all. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so there's an actual formula for hail. I'll likely put that up on the website, but essentially, based upon the wind speeds, right? When you have wind speeds up to 103 miles an hour, it can produce softball-sized hail, which is about 4.5 inches, right? 4.5 inches. The higher the wind speeds, the higher the updraft, the greater the potential for hail, right? Hail, the size of hail is based on a formula. It's based on water density, right? And the volume of a sphere. Of course, diameter and circumference. But it's based on that formula. Like a 75-pound hailstone, which a lot of people talk about. That would be 49 inches in circumference. And that would take 250 mile an hour sustained winds to produce. Now we know the Bible says we're going to have eventually have hailstones like that. There are two scenarios. So hailstones can come either from a storm, and we will have high winds. The winds are, they're progressively getting worse and worse. Or we can have spaceborne hail, which is essentially some disintegrated object in which the crust of it had to have been ice, and it fractures in the atmosphere, of course, falling to the surface. The other portion of that is extremely possible, and as we continue to go forward in time, we're seeing these storms with higher and higher potentials. They have a new system of things as of late, right? Many of these recording studios, people who make creative content that deals with weather, somebody's going to reach out to them because their system has to be cataloged, and they're going to certainly ensure that they're in compliance with a few things. That because of the weather phenomena that we're having, it will continue to increase, right? So back to the wind speeds again. When you have, for example, 70 mile an hour winds, that's an egg. When you have 49 mile an hour winds, that's quarter size hail. So it's not too big. All of it's based on wind speed. It's the ability of the wind to keep aloft ice, right, which is pushed up by the winds to hold them up into the air. Now, when they get big enough, they overwhelm the wind speeds falling to the surface, and so you have falling hail. In this case, they've already seen pretty big hail, and the potential for softball and size hail is there. Now, so when the Bible says we're going to have 75-pound hailstones, that's a lot of wind. That's a whole lot of wind, right? It'll take 250 mile an hour winds just to keep aloft a big chunk of ice until it overwhelms, until physics kicks in. Its density is too high, its weight's too high, in relation to the wind, overwhelming it, falling to the surface. And unfortunately, falling where people are. So I'll say it again. We will entertain times when 28 of these storms that you see right now will be all over the USA. Imagine that, I'd say about 28 to 30. That would be a conservative number. All right, guys, I'm going to be back. The sound is set. Everything is set for Channel 0. I'm going to be on Channel 0, so if you guys don't mind, make sure you tell everybody I'm going to be on Channel 0. I'm going to start early. And that way, if we get into, if I can't reach the main transmitter, at least we'll have what we have. Not sure how tonight's going to play out. Well, I can see it, just not sure. Not sure at all. Also, I'm going to have to stand up. It feels like I literally have not slept in weeks. All right, guys, I'm going to be back in just a moment. It's going to go silent. So I didn't go anywhere. It's just going to be silent. Make sure you tell everybody I'm on channel 0. I'll be right back. Well, that was interesting. It was very interesting indeed. Let me get this pulled up here, guys. We are still on bit of a limited scope here right now. That is one brutal behemoth. Again, these storm patterns are coming out all day today, nothing, and then all of a sudden, these storms, if you look at the formation of these storms, it is something to see. It's actually a named pattern, the system that we see today. Quite powerful. And we will no doubt see more. Many more storms this way. Again, the development of storms only doesn't take much. It does not take much. And this summer, we will have, not only are we going to have storms that take up most of the USA-wide storms, but we're also going to have times when multiple small storms will be in different places at the same time. Again, just imagine the USA with about 30, I'll say about 34 storm cells, doing the same thing this one did. We could actually see something like that. That we could. And it likely won't be, the winds will continue to increase. It's going to increase the potential for hail size and damages. And we all know that any more damages in the USA, the insurance companies are running at about a 96%. As far as what they're able to fulfill, is not good. Many people have found out their insurance has dropped, period. Right? It's just dropped. This should be done, this entire storm cell on the East Coast should be done by 11 p.m. tonight. We're hoping. Should be done by then. That'll give us a bit more flexibility in broadcasting for sure. I'm not going to run the other systems due to how they are hooked up. So we should be fine like this for a few minutes. Distress. Again, in the Bible, it does say, in fact, let's go there and look at something. Because in the Word of God, it reads, you can actually see what God has decreed compared to what we experience. We're not quite there yet. Not yet. We will be. Just not yet. We've been extremely blessed. I believe that everybody has, despite some of the setbacks that come with these storms. We have been incredibly blessed. Incredibly blessed. Now to give you guys a heads up. Remember, Thursday, I'm going to let you guys know Wednesday what will happen Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Okay? I'll also let everybody else know the exact same thing. What does it mean when they name storm systems? Well, we name everything, right? When you're dealing with a storm historically, each storm, each element historically, if it has a name, it can be categorized as such. But I'm not going to go conspiracy theory on you. But let's say it helps them categorize some of the storms that are out there, right? And give a context and history regarding the weather phenomena itself, or the storm itself, to give future comparisons also to these storms, right? Helps them do that too. There are stories and whispers and rumors of other things. I'm not going to go there, not yet. Over there yet, but that's why they do that. Some of the dual names will be coming up this year. They're running out of standard storm names. They'll go to designates. We'll begin to see that one too. As you guys can tell, I'm on channel 0, right? Channel 0. Tonight's a bit unusual due to some storms that have, kind of developed over the East Coast and other parts of the U.S., but specifically the East Coast. They do carry, they're carrying some pretty high winds, large hail, rain, the whole gambit. And so we've opted for safety this time due to my location. This is an unusual location. Nevertheless, it did happen. The storm did come. Okay. Somebody else says you sound very, very tired. Tired's not the word. I think sometimes, let's just say that the body can not always keep up with what one wants to do. Say it that way. So it happens. It happens. Not to mention, there are more people in distress these days. And working with people is, it's a passion, yes, but it's also quite tiresome because most often you meet people who are quite resistive of what's around them. And they end up getting themselves in predicaments of loss, great loss. And it doesn't have to be that way. So we have both the good, bad, and the ugly here in the USA in regards to people. My hope, though, is that through some example, somebody will be inspired by way of truth to help fight for other folks. By and large, that's missing these days. I'll give you a small example of something. Policies of states are quite strange. Now listen to this. Imagine a person who needs help, financial help. Yet the state or nobody else can help them because they don't have an address, because they become homeless. So without an address, they can receive no help. The agency sends them back to, other organizations to get something they couldn't possibly get. You have people out there like that are on this wild ride where they don't get help. Their children are hungry. And because they don't have an address, most people can't help them. It's not a good situation. But those type issues are all over the U.S., spanning all types of situations that could be a different way. But they're not. More and more people are falling through the cracks. Just like those people cannot get help. So it's not a good thing. A more robust or refined system with compassion involved wouldn't be a bad thing, but they have policies that will just ignore those who really need the help. You have people out there, all they need is some initial jumpstart, and they can maintain, some sort of lifestyle. But they need that initial boost. Well, you have to have an address to get that. And unfortunately, you have thousands of people, tens of thousands, who are in that same situation. It is sad, very sad. But as human beings, we also have an ability to intervene. That we can do. You can't intervene for everybody, but you can intervene for some. Right? Some people are incredibly stubborn, and they won't change until they know for a fact it's, they have no choice. This environment we're in, more people are being pushed aside. More and more people. This is no doubt going to culminate in some of the largest protests we've seen in America in quite some time. This weekend, for example, there were quite a few protests. And from the looks of it, it had to be at least 15, 25,000 people there. All right. You guys stand by. Let me go check something. Make sure that we don't totally go downhill. You know what? In fact, I'm going to do something. I'm going to give this a longer pause. All right. If everything clears out and goes by, right? For the sake of everything, I'm going to be back at midnight. How's that sound? Does it sound okay? Folks, sound okay? Hopefully it does. I think we can cover a bit more without the threat of what's happening right now. Again, these storms should clear up by midnight. So that would be a good time. It'd be a good time to come on there. Be a good time to come on there. You guys communicate to everybody as best you can. Can you guys communicate to everybody that we'll resume our broadcasts beginning at near midnight, something to that nature. All right, we'll be on all channels by then. Not just not just channel 0, but all channels. Be safe in these storms. Please don't underestimate them. They've already, these storms seem to have casualties every time they form. So please be cautious in these storms. God gives us a mind often to articulate troubles and things of that nature. We're not to operate by fear, but realize that things happening on this earth, especially when dealing with the weather, it could be your Father's intervention. Because if he does not do, what happens to someone if they're not corrected? If they don't go through hardships at certain times, they essentially spoil. They become so spoiled. They become menaces to society in a lot of, unknown to us, a lot. These storms turn lives around. They do. They're working some sort of purpose. We're just not privy to all the information. We're not privy. The Lord is good in what he does. He'll always have you in a position where, All right, guys. If you guys would spread that word, please, to everybody out there, right? And we'll resume after after some of these winds, die down and roll over. All right. I think everything here will be fine. I do believe. But, yeah, let everybody know that. Let everybody know we'll be back sometime around midnight. All right? And with that, I'm going to say God bless each and every one of you. You guys will hear us on the normal channels when we do come back. I appreciate you guys stopping in. I appreciate your patience. Right? With the exception of these storms. Let's get to work, shall we say? Let's get to work. I know I should be resting, but there's no rest with these things around. I'll see you guys a little later, okay? God bless and keep you. We'll see you guys then. God bless.